Okay, so wow, you have a lot of people here. I remember how few were when we started. Well, that's good. We're making progress. Okay, guys, I'll just briefly talk about my experience. I stumbled across Hills and Tech. Sarah, is Bisola in this class?
Hi, Vivian. I'm here. Welcome.
Hi,
So
Bisola. How
happy
are
to
you
hear from
doing?
you. Good.
Okay. Okay, so I stumbled across Heels and Tech. I think it was on Instagram. I can't even remember now. And I just went ahead and joined the Telegram group and reached out to her. Before then, I had never heard of business analysis, but then I attended a webinar and then it piqued my interest. And I was like, okay, apparently what I had been doing before, I was working as an engineer and a business development personnel in the oil and gas industry. So I compared what business analysis was all about and found out that, okay, I've actually been performing the task of a business analyst, but it wasn't really in a structured manner. And I told myself, okay, I'll just keep what I know aside and let me just see what this training has to offer. So I reached out to Hills and Tech and then registered for the first cohort of the training. Met Petrina for the first time. Guys, it's not because she's here that I'm saying it, but she's a really good instructor. I mean, she patiently explains everything, especially because of the fact that this was a new concept to most of us. And she started with a mindset class, and I was like, mindset, okay, I'll keep this in mind. Well, you know, that mindset class, it really stuck. And now I can relate to that class. I mean, considering the experience I've had so far. Okay, sorry guys, I'm talking a lot. Let me just go straight to the point. So after the training, during the training, actually, it wasn't easy. I had a 7-month-old baby at that time, yes, and a 2 years old. You know, combining that with sometimes we would have classes for 4 to 5 hours, and then we had to do daily scrums or we started working on the project. It wasn't easy, but I was just determined that no, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to leave it halfway. I'm not going to not show up for class. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. It's not easy, I know. But what I would like to tell you guys is that it paid off at the end. So try as much as possible to take this class really, really seriously, because a lot of times I've had to talk about what I did during this class, and trust me, it has really put me in a good position. So after the class, when it ended, I took a little break. Yeah, I told myself, oh, I was going to do the CBAP certification, but then 3 months went by, I didn't do it. But then I got a Scrum Master certification, and finally decided to do the CBAP certification. But something I want to say about CBAP, that shouldn't be your focus right now. Just get the raw experience you can get. I believe you guys are working on a project right now. Try as much as possible to pay attention to what you are doing, because trust me, the experience is what matters. The certification would only give you probably access to more interviews, maybe a bit, your pay might be a bit higher, but that is not really the most important part, because by the time you get the job, you need to be able to show you can do it, right? So please take this class really, really, really seriously, because it's like the foundation. It was like the foundation for me. And I can't really talk about my business analysis journey without talking about Petrina and Hills and Tech. That's the honest truth. So I moved over to Canada with my family less than 2 months ago. But then I started trying to apply for business analysis jobs and all that. But it didn't really work out when I was still in Nigeria, because of course I was still in Nigeria. And then by the time I came here, I noticed that it was a different ball game altogether. The interviews, they want to see what you've done. It's not just about what you have on your CV. You need to be able to structure your CV. You need to be able to brand yourself. You need to be able to talk about what you've done on LinkedIn. You need to be able to sell yourself as a business analyst. When we're writing user stories during the project, you know, I was probably thinking, oh, this is a lot of work. But then I told myself I was going to do it. And you know what? Now I'm writing user stories. So imagine if I had not taken that training seriously, and let's say, okay, I got some really good interview skills and I got the job, and I was asked to write user stories, I would be running up and down. I'm not saying I'm perfect yet, but that training really, really helped. I've had a couple of interviews that I've had to talk about, okay, tell us about a time where you worked on an agile Scrum project. And you know what comes to my mind? What I did with Heels and Tech. And I talk about it like I was really in the project, because I was really in the project. And the interviewers see it like, okay, definitely this person knows what he or she is talking about, because that's what they want to look for. They ask you certain questions that would show your experience. They always want you to respond with an example of something you have done in the past. And there's so much you can make up, right? If you're making it up, they would know. They would know, because body language and so many other things. I'm not a recruiter, but what I just know is that they would know. So it's really not easy. Right now, I'm working with a startup firm as a BA. And guys, it's not funny. It is hard work, really. It is a lot of hard work. And you see this project you guys are working on is just the foundation. It's training you. So try as much as possible. I know I've repeated it like, I probably sound like a broken record right now, talking about how you should take this training seriously. But later on, you would sit back and think about this thing I'm saying now, and you realize how true it is. Everybody gets to see that. To be a BA is not an easy job. You have to wear so many hats. And if you are working in an organization that is using Scrum, then you might probably find yourself doing the BA work as well as being either a Scrum Master or a Scrum Product Owner. So what you guys can do after this training, try and get some training on Scrum as well. That would really help. I think Petrina offers that as well. I'm not sure. So writing user stories, like try and ask questions. Petrina is a great resource, and I know she's a very patient teacher. So whatever you guys don't understand in class, just ask questions, because now is the opportunity for you to learn it. And something else, try to take the project seriously, because it will definitely help you out at the end. Being a business analyst in practice, there are some skills you need to try and either develop or improve on. You need to learn how to talk to people in terms of stakeholders. You need to learn how to elicit requirements. You need to learn how to ask the right questions depending on the type of stakeholder. You need to, of course, you do your stakeholder analysis. That would tell you the kind of collaboration method you would use with that particular stakeholder. There are some stakeholders that like being involved in the project, no matter how little those details are, they want to know. So by the time you do your analysis, it will tell you how to collaborate with this and communicate with this particular stakeholder. Okay, so you also need to know how to facilitate meetings. It's something that you would do all the time as a BA, facilitating meetings. You need to, know how to work with development team in terms of skills like, would I say creative thinking? You don't need to be perfect to start out in the first place. It's something you learn. And this is a very good learning environment. So I know I've spoken a lot. I'll just stop right here. In case any one of you wants to ask any questions, please go ahead. Petrina, do they have time to ask questions? Sorry, I didn't ask you first.
Yes, please. Yeah, I'll give it 5 to 6 minutes. Go ahead. Thank you for offering. So Vivian's available. You can ask your questions, please.
No questions. You guys are all on mute.
Hello, Vivian. My name is Lalade.
Hi, Lolade. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for coming to talk to us, to encourage us. I just want to ask you, did you handle, after the Hills and Tech class, did you do any other practical project? Or was just this project that you did? Or did you handle any other practical projects that helped with your Scrum Master certification and then the CBAP?
Okay, so yes, I handled another project, but to be honest, I left it midway. It wasn't something like a real project. It was just something I wanted to work on to sharpen up my skills. So I got information about the project from someone, and I had some deliverables I was working on. You understand? So it was more like, would I say, capstone project. I left it at the requirements analysis. Yes, I left it at that stage before moving over here. And then when I got here, so many things came up. Had to look for a job and all that. So, but Scrum, I didn't handle any other thing that involved practicing Scrum apart from what I did with Hills and Tech. And it was a lot. I mean, it was really comprehensive. So that helped me a lot. You know, Scrum certification, they would only teach you, okay, you do this, you do that, but you've not really done it in practical, you understand? You've not really done it. But with this project you guys are working on now, you can say, okay, I've worked as a Scrum Master, or I've worked in development team, I've been involved in daily stand-ups, I've been involved in sprint planning, in sprint reviews, sprint retrospectives, I've developed product backlog, you understand? So it is the raw experience that really matters more than the certification. It's a nice to have, but if you have the certification without the experience, then it's going to be really difficult to blend in. Hi, Lola, did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question? You guys have any challenges that maybe something that you find you found really challenging with trying to get introduced to business analysis? I know there might be some of you coming from different backgrounds, and it could be challenging at first, but anybody can be a business analyst. I've seen people transition from even medicine, doctors, to becoming a business analyst. So anyone can become a business analyst.
Hi, Vivian. Good evening. My name is Oyindamola. Speaking from Lagos, Nigeria at the moment. So I wanted to find out, right? Since you said you didn't have any other like practical experience of business analysis before you relocated, how exactly the project you guys worked on, did it go live or it was just the planning that you did? Because I'm wondering, won't the employers want to see, okay, can you put me through? Can I see like the end result of the project we're on and that kind of thing? I'm just concerned.
Okay, so let me backtrack a little. I'll come back to this project with Hills and Tech. Let me backtrack a little. Remember that I had said at the beginning that I looked at, when I first learned about the word business analysis and what it entails, I realized that I had been doing a task of a BA when I was working. Okay. Yes, for a couple of years. Just that it was not, I wasn't called a business analyst, and it was probably not in a structured manner. So what I did as well with my resume was that I tailored my resume to
the former job.
Exactly, and also included this experience with Hills and Tech. I'm sure you can ask Bisola or Petrina if you can include this experience in your resume. So the thing is about the project, yes, it was a real project. we developed it up to the point where we had our product backlog. We had done sprints, and we ended up with doing a presentation to the business owner. Well, there was time constraint at that time, if I can remember clearly, but Hilsa and Tech actually wanted us to have a meeting with the developers, but I'm not sure that eventually happened. I really can't remember, but I don't think it happened. But what I know is that we did everything that the project that is supposed to be done in a project except meet with the developers. We met with the primary stakeholder. We did a presentation to him on what we had done so far and what the next steps were.
Okay, all right, thank you for that, talking about the previous experience. I think that makes it easier to work with. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Vivian, Patrina here. So what we've done in terms of when we first started the lectures, what I asked them to do was to do a current state analysis of their own experience, their past experiences, their knowledge, their skills, their abilities, and to also keep in mind when we are going and teaching them in terms of the business analysis activities and tasks, to also keep in mind what they've already done that matches up. So it meets exactly what you're saying in terms of you taking a step back and doing an analysis of what you've already done. So because I keep telling them, you've already been doing this, you just haven't called it business analysis. You've been doing all of these things with the work that you're doing. Just don't be stuck on the title. Don't be stuck on whatever it's called, because you use different vocabulary in different places, right? So that's one point, but I'll give it back to you for now.
Okay, that makes sense. Now that I even remember it, I think about it. I remember, Petrina, we had a session at almost at the end of the class on how to relate our past experience with business analysis guests. I do remember we had something like that. There was like a resume session at the end of the class or so, close to the end of the project. So like how Petrina just said, and a lot of people have been doing business analysis tasks without actually realizing that they're doing business analysis tasks. So it's just writing down your past experience. Have you been involved with talking to stakeholders, maybe customers at your place of work? It's not necessarily just customers, even internally, you can have internal stakeholders. Have you asked them for, okay, so how would you like this to be done? What do you need to be done? Have you asked those questions? Have you facilitated meetings that talked about, okay, this is how we're going to be working on the project going forward, or this is what we need? And like Petrina said, current state, future state, so many things in between. So you don't necessarily have to have developed use cases or user stories to actually say you've done business analysis before. So it's just looking at your past experience, looking at what a business analyst does or needs to do, and relating that past experience with the business analysis task.
Hello.
Hi, Bisola.
Hi, Vivian. Yeah, hi, Vivian. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. I don't know if you remember attending one of the webinars we had, the session we had with a government worker who moved to Canada as a business analyst. We could not record it because she just wanted her privacy, right? And she said the only thing she does as a business analyst is to actually design process flow. Like she doesn't do anything as regards use cases, gathering requirements, so depending on the place of work you get, or probably the organization you get. So Vivian, you are in a startup, so there's always a lot of work to do in startup.
Exactly. Yes.
But if you get to work in probably a government organization or a very big organization, sometimes one person could just be handling the process flow while somebody else handles the use case or user story.
That's true.
But I didn't want to mention it because it might discourage you from
No.
learning everything that
So,
encompasses.
yeah, so the thing is that this training by Hills and Tech helps you to be an all-rounder. That is a good part. That's the advantage of this training. Such that no matter where you find yourself, you have learned a bit of everything. And I always say that I am not sure I can talk about my business analysis journey without mentioning Hills and Tech. I mean, guys, please just do what you can. Just try and put in your best. Work. I mean, try to make some effort to work on this project as if you're working on like you're working in an organization real time, because it will really help out. It will. So even if you find yourself just analyzing current state, like Bisola said, and developing process maps for that, and then process maps for the future states, or maybe all you do is to write user stories, you won't really find it so difficult. Or maybe you get a job in a startup like that, they expect you to do everything from planning meetings with stakeholders, to designing process flows, to writing user stories, to meeting with the developers. You can always relate to that. Okay, so I don't know if there's any other question. Petrina, Bisola, over to you guys.
Thank you, Vivian. Thank you.
Hi there, Vivian. Thank you so much for that. In terms
Sorry,
of
quickly. Hi, everyone. Sorry, Petrina, this is Benny.
hi there, Wemi. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yes. So I have a question. Thank you, Vivian, for sharing your experience with our class. I have a question for Petrina and Bisola. So Vivian's cohort had the opportunity to talk to stakeholders, to have possible meeting with the developer. Are we going to have the same opportunity? Are we going to be able to speak with stakeholders, maybe conduct interviews with stakeholders for the project we're doing? And are we going to have the opportunity to meet with developers as well? Thank you.
Sorry, yes, before Petrina and Bisola, let me just correct an impression here before you guys respond. We didn't have the opportunity to meet with stakeholders to conduct interviews. The meeting I mentioned was with the primary stakeholder, where we presented what we had done. So we did research. We started with a business case. So we had to go and do research, do benchmarking and competitor analysis. And we made a lot of assumptions, you understand, to work on the business case. We talked to people that knew about the industry that the project was based on, and that informed our decisions. We also made notes of the assumptions that we made. Then at the end of everything, Bisola was like our major stakeholder. I mean, the product owner. We asked her questions, and then she'll tell us, okay, she'll get feedback from the clients. So we didn't really have a direct interaction with the clients until when we were ready to present our work. So most of the information we're getting them from asking Bisola questions.
Oh, so Bisola acted as your product owner during your project?
Yeah, we were just 4 in class.
And then
exactly.
And then afterwards, you were able to talk to, you were able to present to your stakeholder.
Yes, there was a presentation.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I feel like yes, Vivian, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, seems you're breaking up. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you, Vivian.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Yes. So I understand you better now that Bisola acted as your product owner for the whole for the duration of the project, and then
Bisola acted as one of the sponsors. There's difference between sponsors and product owner. There's difference. Sponsor is the person. So sponsor is the person that has the budget for the project. They're the one that has the high level overview. The product owner is the person within the team that takes ownership for delivering on the product. So there's a difference. So the product owner is, what we've done in the past is we've assigned people within the team. Like it could be you, it could be one of your team members. We assign them with the product owner responsibility. Then they take the ownership for the product. They communicate with the externals, with the senior level stakeholders, get the inputs, because not the development team, you usually do not directly communicate with the stakeholders. It's the product owner or the scrum master that are usually the ones having those external discussions, right? So the sponsor is a person. So anytime you come and you present, you're presenting to your sponsor. You're presenting to the senior stakeholders, right? If that makes sense. Unless
Yeah, and I also
So
like
in
to
the
add
line for clarifying that, yes. So she thinking about it now, some other person was the product owner. So, but she was basically our source of information with regards to the project. So any questions we had about the project, yes, she was answering those questions. But
As
we
I
did
also
not
like to
appointed Scrum Master and product owner.
Yes. So why I'm asking this question is I'm trying to understand the flow. I'm a lawyer that this is my first time thinking or doing anything business analysis, and I'm trying to understand. So my process of thinking is usually to understand something from the beginning to the end, and that way I can follow through. So what I'm asking the question is, because my understanding of a product owner is exactly what Petrina just explained. A product owner is someone within the team that acts as a product owner and then acts as a facilitator or the intermediary between the Scrum team and the sponsors or the major stakeholders.
Yes.
And why I was asking it, Bisola, was, yes, so for the purpose of this project, was Bisola the overall stakeholder that you presented to, or was it a live project? Like, did you have opportunity? Because I feel like the way, if I was to present to Petrina, the way I would present to Petrina and the feedback I would get from Petrina would be totally different from the feedback I would probably get from a person that is the owner of the project or a person that is maybe financially invested in the project. I feel like I would get no, don't do it like this, do it like this kind of, but from, if I was presenting to a live stakeholder or a live sponsor, it would be okay. And then maybe the person will go talk to the product and I'll be like, this girl doesn't know what she's talking about, or yes, I like what she presented. So that's why I was asking if you had that opportunity during your training. And if you did, are we going to have that opportunity as well? Are we going to have the opportunity to talk to or to present to a live stakeholder and to maybe make development? Because this project particularly is giving me some issues, because I feel like at the back of my head, I know that I'm working on a make-believe project, and I'm not too certain right now how I feel about that. And that's
okay, continue.
Baby, honestly speaking, I resonate with this part of make believe. I don't know why, but maybe, I don't know, maybe it's mindset, but it feels like, can this really happen? It's I don't know.
I really
love
tried to
this.
just,
It's not make believe. I would love it. Like if we could actually speak with one person from government who says that we are actually trying to do this.
Yes, because irrespective of whether it's make believe or not, I'm actually excited about it. Like in my group, we have a product owner, we have a scrum master, and what we've done in my group is every week, one person is not going to be scrum master from beginning to the end. Every week it's a different scrum master, so we rotate it every week. So I was scrum master for last week. I presented, I did everything from beginning to the end. I was facilitator, I was scrum master, I was everything. This week is somebody else. Next week it will be somebody else. So we already have the mindset that we're, irrespective of anything, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this very well, at least to the best of our ability. However, I would actually have preferred if it was a live project, if I was going to be able to talk to live stakeholders, if I was going to be able to talk to this and not just, I feel like I'm making up a lot of things.
Do you,
and I really
do you know who
don't.
your stakeholders are? Every day, your stakeholders are your colleagues. You're working together. Your stakeholders are your colleagues. In Agile Scrum, the development team does not go and talk to the stakeholders. It's you and your team members. You and your team members are your stakeholders. When you come and you present to us, you're presenting to us like you have gone and done your work. You're presenting to the live stakeholders. Development team, you're the development team. You usually do not. It's whoever is the product owner who's the Scrum Master. Ask Vivian. Vivian, when she joined a team, the team that she's joined, they don't even know what they're doing. Ask her. Ask Vivian.
So maybe
she's just giving you good thing. Like she went to the team, the development team, the developers were the ones doing the requirement solicitation. She hasn't told you everything. The development team. Now she's come as a business analyst. Ask her, what is she doing? So she's taken on the role.
So
maybe there's a break.
Let me say something here. Yeah, I understand what you are saying. However, like Petrina rightly said, if you're practicing Agile Scrum, the development team has nothing to do with the stakeholders or the clients, really. You talk to your product owner, you talk to the Scrum Master. In fact, most times you even talk to the Scrum Master and the Scrum Master talks to the product owner. So the product owner will give you all the information that needs to be given to you about that project. Now, this thing that Petrina just mentioned, do you know that when I joined the project, I discovered that the developers were the ones talking to the stakeholders, and I was like, okay. And then we did a planning and discovery session, and we were supposed to develop personas first, which was what I had in my head. And then the next thing I start saying user stories. I was like, oh, why are we going straight to user stories? Are we not supposed to develop personas? And those personas, who used to develop the user stories? So everything was just up and down. So it took a lot of work. So that is why you need to learn it now. It doesn't matter if it's a live project or not. Just that mindset, that mindset of I can do it. I know Petrina should have talked a lot to you guys about mindset when she started. Develop that mindset. Yeah. Forget about whether it's real or not.
And Amber, I'm so sorry. Can I just say something? Thank you, Vivian. But what I feel like nobody's trying to understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I don't have an issue with the mindset. I don't have an issue with doing the project. I didn't have an issue with the project anyhow. The thing is, what I'm saying is, okay, first of all, I've never done this before. So whatever you say to me now, as a trainer or facilitator, whatever you say to me now, I'm going to believe that this is how it is, because this is my first meetup or this is my foundation. And if I don't want to quote the Bible, but the foundation be faulty, what can the righteous do? Like, so that's why it seems like I'm asking a lot of questions. And maybe it's also because I'm a lawyer and that's my background. I would ask, so questions is how I understand things. So my question is, it has nothing to do with mindset. So Hughes and Tech saying mindset, it really has nothing to do with mindset with what I'm trying to say now, because I'm already believing that. And that is why I'm already thinking, okay, whatever it is, I can do this. Even if I've never done this before, I will do this, I can do this, and I'll be successful at this. What I'm saying is, from what Petrina just said now, she just said as a BA, you would not even get to meet the stakeholder. However, at the beginning of this project, Hughes and Tech said something that she mentioned something like, oh, if the federal government, so I've always had the impression that as a BA, you'll probably be talking to the stakeholder in a live project, like when you're working in a company, in an organization, you'll be talking to a stakeholder, because there was a comment Hughes and Tech made and said, if the federal government came to meet us to do a project and give us 500 million, that insinuated that we would probably be talking, as if the government was a stakeholder, we would probably be talking to the stakeholder, which is the government. And I've also always thought, thank you for the clarification, Petrina. I've always thought, because when we're doing this project, when we listed our stakeholders last week in our presentation last week, a lot of my a lot of my stakeholders were government, Ministry of Information, Ministry of Finance, developers wasn't even in my list of stakeholders. The Scrum Master wasn't in my list of stakeholders. The project owner was in my list of stakeholders. Even in my group, during approval, I did put Hills and Tech and I put Hills and Tech and Petrina as the approval people, as the product owner and the sponsor, but to show the level of the level of misunderstanding that probably is not just only my group that is feeling that way. I had to change it because my fellow group members were like, oh, no. Product owner, Hills and Tech are not the product owner. None of those people are the product owner. No, approval should go straight to federal government and CBN because they are the stakeholders. So that is what we understood in my group, and that's why I'm asking this question. So it's actually very good that Vivian has brought this up and we're able to talk about it now to better understand. Hi, Abisola.
Yes, so I would like to clarify what you said about me insinuating that if the federal government gave opportunity to work on a project. So do note that as a business analyst, you are part of the development team and you'll be reporting to the product owner who owns the project. The product owner will then report to the stakeholder. However, note that as a business analyst, you can work individually on a project. Individual stakeholders, anybody, the federal government, anyone can walk up to you to discuss their problems with you. And at that point, would you say, oh, I'm a business analyst, I'm sorry, I'm not a product owner, therefore I can't work on this project? That's where I said mindset. And that's number one. And number two, do note that some projects don't go live. In fact, a lot of projects don't go live. Go and speak with the Google team, the Facebook team, or any of these big tech startups, and these big tech startups. A lot of the projects you see out there are probably a fraction of what don't go live. So note that even if you work on this project and it does not go live, it doesn't change the fact that you are a business analyst. You are a business analyst and you are a business analyst. Back to stakeholders and requirements.
Hi, Bisola, sorry, sorry to cut you. You said on the chat that all projects go live. Is it a mistake? Because I'm seeing all projects go live.
Okay, don't go live.
Because I'm like, okay, all right.
Yes, and then also that when it comes to interviewing stakeholders, we worked on a chatbot project. I don't know who I was. I was speaking with Folake during the week, and then she was like, how is she going to do the interview? And Petrina, I remember the chatbot project we worked on, and who were the stakeholders? Potential Hills and Tech students. And the students they conducted the interview. What did they do? They had to go to the Telegram group. They had to reach out to all our followers. They had to reach out to the Hills and Tech community manager just to find out the information required. So sometimes you would have to go the extra mile. When she was speaking with me, she was like, oh yeah, when she was in the bank, one of our customers was the branch was working in the church and they needed add some information. I was like, yeah, fantastic. Thank God you even mentioned it. It means that you could just throw a chat and just get an average figure of what happens in the church. The person could introduce you to somebody else, and then somebody else would introduce you to somebody else. So as a business analyst, you would go out of your way. So on this project, if any of the group members comes to me and say, oh, in fact, we went to different churches. If you stay in Lagos, probably you went to Elevation Church. Did you go to the Covenant Christian Center to find out information on how much? I mean, it's not too much effort as a business analyst. And yes, you did that as a business analyst.
Abisola, you're not understanding me. I'm not saying it's effort.
Sorry, guys,
I'm not saying
come in.
Out of effort. What I'm saying is, what I'm saying is I am not understanding the process. For instance, I am not understanding one as a business. So to just make like at the base of it, as a business analyst, am I supposed to conduct interview with stakeholders or am I not? So is it a maybe? Is it a yes? Is it a no? Is it a sometimes issue? So it is not this project is too tough for me. It's absolutely not too tough for me. I'm actually enjoying it with my group members. So this is not. So I think you're thinking I'm saying the effort is too much. No, I want to know as a business analyst, what am I supposed
wait,
to do?
Okay, then to
sorry.
answer your question,
If you
I think
remember, I said from the beginning, business analysts, our main thing is we are the intermediary between the business and the stakeholders. Then I said that there are different approaches to managing projects. And the reason why we talk through all of them in terms of waterfall and then also in terms of agile is because when you go into an organization, you don't know which one you're going to meet.
Exactly.
You don't know which one you're going to meet. So your role is to understand how to elicit requirements, even if it's you and your team members having a brainstorming session. Okay, we want to work on a business case. What are some of the key things that need to be in a business case? Okay, this part. So where are we going to get this information? Okay, you go do this, you go do that, you go do this. Because when it comes time, if you go to a waterfall environment and then the CEO comes to you and says, oh, we're doing this project, you're going to be the main business analyst on it, then you have to come up with another strategy. Okay, I'm the main one. Who are my stakeholders? Who do I need to talk to so that I understand what the problem is, so that I understand how I can create a plan? As a business analyst, you're going to be eliciting requirements. You're going to be, but then also now to talk to another part of it, in Agile, even though you're part of the development team and we say there are no main roles, if you join the project as a business analyst, are you going to sit down and say, am I going to, who? No, you have to go and talk to the project team and talk to the how do you call it? The product owner and the scrum master, right? So with them, you're going to be joining them sometimes in those meetings, and you're the one doing the elicitation. So just think of it in that regards, right? So the thing is, on an agile team, right? When I joined, imagine I joined an insurance product project, moved to a new city, joined the project team as a business analyst. I didn't have my computer. I never been on the project. I didn't have the computer. They're using Microsoft DevOps. That's another form of project that they're doing. But my main remit on that thing was to work with we had one main product owner that had industry knowledge about the insurance product. So we're doing auto and we're doing home, right? Auto and home. She is a product owner. She was in our team. Imagine 10 Scrum teams, one product owner with that knowledge. How much time am I going to get with her? If I book a workshop with her to define the requirements, what about the other 9 Scrum teams that need her time? I have limited time. I need to make sure I get all the information, right? I'm not going to have her all the time. Then the remaining time, it was me and our development team saying, okay, out of it, so this is going to be the process, the use case, the user story for these personas. On that project, we had like 10 personas we're building out for. So each user story focus area is on defining those process flows and then defining we had a UI UX person that came in from Montreal to our city to work in that workshop session to say, okay, from the requirements you've said, this is what I've said. And he was walking through, and you could see the product owner is like, you haven't understood. Why is it looking not with our brand? Why is it looking not with this placement? And we took maybe almost like even just a simple button. You think a button is simple? No, we took how many hours just to discuss where the button is going to be, the size, the shape and stuff. Sorry. So the thing of the matter is, think of it, business analyst, you have to research, you have to understand the problem, research. You are going to be talking to stakeholders. Stakeholders are internal and external. So the reason why we do it this way is if you go into an agile environment, you know, oh, we have sprint planning. This is what it involves. We have Daily Scrum, this is what it involves. We have retrospective and review. This is what it involves. Okay, up till now, all we've gotten up to is the first part in terms of the business case. We still have to do customer journey mapping, identifying pain points, and then doing user stories and all of that stuff. So we need to start clarifying what we need to do, if that's okay. So that's just high level, but I see a few people have something to say. I'm not sure if Vivian is still here. I'm so sorry.
I'm here.
Right. Yeah, just to clarify something. So on the Hills and Tech project, right, you would work as an agile consultant, you would work in a Scrum team, you would learn how to become a business analyst, you would learn how to become a product owner. However, when you want to write your Scrum certification and you read the Scrum guide, you would now understand that the business analyst role falls under the development team, and the major team members are the product owner, the Scrum master, and the development team. So under the development team is the BA, UI, UX, the developers, and every other members. But under Hills and Tech, we'll teach you everything that you need to. And initially, you would be overwhelmed with the information, but I think it's better than not even teaching you anything at all and just teaching you the theoretical aspect of becoming a BA. So that's what makes it that's what makes the difference. And then also note that this is just the beginning of the project. As time goes on, by the time you get to the sixth week of the project, you would fully understand what you are getting into. So please don't get overwhelmed, don't be confused, just have an open mind and try to grasp as much as you can. But by the end of the day, you would fully understand what it is.
What I recommend is, if you're feeling that it's not a real project, please, you need to address that, because you are, all this work you've done, are you saying it's not a real project? All these hours you've been spending, are you saying it's not a real project? All these discussions you've been having, the documents you've been creating, if you've gone through the thing, look at it in terms of, this is a project. Let me tell you, when you go to training institutions for them to train you on business analysis, they will tell you business analysis is this, is this, is this, is this, is this. Okay, you're going to write a business requirements document, and then you'll just put your team members and stuff, but they don't do it end to end, and they don't do it practical. They'll just say, oh, okay, now we've taught you this BA thing. Now we're going to work to improve your CV resume and send you out there. The issue then is when it gets into, you can get the job, but can you keep the job, right? All of this stuff that you've done, this is the stuff, this is a real project. Let me tell you, take a step back. When I was working in Oxfam, we had a CRM system. We had, the one we had, it was not working. Lots of data issues, data duplication. Then also, because of the way it was set up, we had the CRM system, but then we had a data team, a whole data team to go and work and fix all of the data issues. How much money are we paying for the data team to catch all of those data errors? A CRM system should not have to have a team go in and do manual fixes to move the data from one form to another form. That's why we have technology. So we had this problem. We didn't like the provider. We didn't like who was doing it. They never did anything on time. It was just too much mix, match, mismatch. So we started to work on a project to identify, are we going to keep the system? Are we going to upgrade to the next level of the system? Because they're always doing system enhancements. So stay with the same people. Are we going to look for new people? All of that kind of stuff. So we got a big project team together. We had to do an initial business case to outline, okay, what are we going to do? What do we need to do? So the initial one was to do get a little money together to have a project team together so we can do a feasibility study. And that feasibility study, what we did in that initial thing, what we got money for was to get a team together so that we could do a review of how did we implement it last. We did a review of how we did it last. We did some benchmarking, we did some research, we did a lot of analysis of what are the different types of systems out there. After we did that, we had to come back with what is going to be our approach that we want to take for the project. So as a business analyst on that project, I was doing a high level review of what are some of our pain points. Let me tell you, on that project team, we asked for a budget for £150,000 for a consulting firm to come in and do a customer mapping to identify what are some of our pain points. That's something that you're going to do here, but we paid a whole firm, and that firm had like maybe a team of 10 people come and tell us things, blah, blah, blah. These are our process. This is our customer journey. These are the pain points, all of that kind of stuff, a whole team. And so they did that so that we could identify, oh, what are some of the things? We're doing some analysis. So after the basic one, then we moved to the next level because we had to go back and ask for more money. And in it, we had to state what was going to be our approach. And we said, okay, we are discovering that we went from doing an RFP, sent out a request for information. It came through. We had people come and do demos of their systems, how they're going to run the thing. And then we went from there. We had them come and demo it to our stakeholders, our different teams. But imagine we had 10 stakeholder groups. We had to ask them to pick one representative from each to be on the committee that would be doing the assessments. We did all of that kind of stuff, right? So this is all, we haven't even started to build out or anything. This is all analysis. This is all trying to understand what is the current state, where does the business want to go, what is going to be our approach. So we decided that instead of us going to go and get the system first, then look for an implementation partner, we're going to use an approach where in our RFP process, when they're coming to do the presentations of our address the requirements that we have, we're going to go for a two-pronged approach. We're going to go for the implementation partners for the systems that we want. Maybe that doesn't make sense, but if you pick a system and you pick a partner to implement and they don't understand your business or what are some of the issues that you're having, it's going to mean that you're going to have a project that's not going to provide the business of what they're looking for. All of this is still analysis. And all of these, we have 3 levels of business cases to write. So first level is not as detailed. Second level, a little bit more detail. Third level is a bit more detail because by that time, we now have information from the different providers and implementation partners, how much money it's going to cost. And then from there, we do a high level plan. Then you have to go back and get money to actually implement it, right? So that's all to say that you're working on a project. You have to find out what is going to be the approach. You have to research what's out there, what's comparable, what's our high level estimates, right? Those are the key things of the business analyst. So sorry, I think I see Toyi and Chibuzo, and I'm not sure if Vivian's still here.
Yeah. Thanks, Petrina. If I understand Bemi correctly, I think what she was trying to say is that if we were dealing with real people, right, that would actually help us experience what obtains in real life scenarios. But because in this time that we are making assumptions, right, as to how the stakeholders will respond or support us or react, there's always a possibility that the experience in real life might be different from that. I, for instance, had the privilege of observing a project fairly recently, and it was a real project, and they called for volunteers. So I was in that group, and when that project started, oh, sorry. So when the project started, so they had the company that was, basically what they wanted was just a digital transformation solution for, to match lawyers with potential clients. So we were working with this company that was trying to build a solution, right? So the project started, we started with, I think we had about 20 people working on that project. So they divided them into a process modeling group. There was another group for the solution team, and then we had the strategy team. So they started collaboration and engaging the stakeholders. And in the course of the project, one of the things that surfaced was an issue with financial analysis. So this company doesn't have any financials at all. When we requested for it, they didn't have that. So we had to look within ourselves and find someone who had that experience, right? So, and then we had to create a fourth group for financial analysis. So I think what Gbemi was saying is, in this type of situation, there's a possibility that those things will not come to the surface, right? Because we are making assumptions as we're working through the project. But I think we all understand that, in this project, there's always something for us to gain, just to give us the base understanding, like a very high level understanding of how BA works and comes together. But if I understand that correctly, I think what she was saying is that we can miss out on what really obtains in real life because we're not really relating with real people. We're not experiencing like any of the kickbacks or resistance that may surface from real individuals, and things like that. So that was just something I wanted to add, that the way we are doing this project is entirely different. It's possible that, other projects might be handled in a different way if we're dealing with real people. So that was just something I wanted to add in. Because I don't think she was, she had, I don't know, I'm not speaking for her, but I think that's what I understand from what she was trying to raise.
Okay, hello. Hello. Hello.
I hear you, Chibuzo.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Chibuzo. So, for me, I think if you ask me, 6 weeks is short, considering, will I say the scope of, is it work or what we have to learn? I'm not saying we'll learn everything here during the course of the training, but I mean, like for everybody, I was also thinking, like Bemi was thinking, it's not a real, it's not as if it's not a real project, but we're not meeting the real people. But the truth about it is, like I told my team members, we spoke about it. And for me, what I see is, take out the, it's not a real project. I'm seeing it like it's a real project. I'm seeing Petrina and Hills and Tech like the government or whomever I need to talk to. And it's not cast on stone. For me, if we're being taught everything, like Bisola said, then I think it's a good foundation, because I don't know if anybody here has done this before. I've not done it before. It's completely new to me, in as much as, yes, maybe from my previous role or what I'm doing now, at the end of the day, we can pick bits and pieces, but in the real sense of, okay, carrying out the role of a BA with the name BA, I've not done it before. So it's entirely new. And I guess we're all facing the same challenge, but I think at the end of the day, we'll be better off for it. Even if it's 50% of the practical aspect or whatever we can pick, it's going to lay a foundation for me. I mean, we'll always learn on the job. With the experience here, whether real or not real, whether we go live or we don't go live, whether we present to real or fake people, whether we present to real stakeholders, or in any case, Hills and Tech, Petrina, they're all stakeholders, but whether we present to the real, I don't know what is real now, but the point is, it's a foundation, and it will give us an idea so that when we're even interacting with these interviewers, or when we're actually carrying out the role as in hands-on, it just keeps bringing, will I say, to real life again what we've learned. That's my own take. And so I think it's okay. It's okay. For me, the time is short. 6 weeks is short. I don't know, Hills and Tech, can you increase? I know we're all busy, but really, you know, we can't learn everything, but I think I'm enjoying the class, but you know, at the end of the day, I think 6 weeks is short, you know, for us to pick, because it's entirely new to us. And so we might be a little bit slow in terms of grasping and learning everything. That's my take. Thank you.
Is it Mercy or I'm not
Yes,
seeing.
Mercy, my hand is up. Okay, so I totally agree with what Chibuzo is saying. On that note, I would actually like to ask and also get clarification. The 6 weeks for us is actually jam-packed. We have a lot in it. And I think the course is actually resourceful, but the time, it's so much for us in just 2 days. And we're having to figure out a lot ourselves. So here is my question. The YouTube videos that is constantly sent to us, will we continue to have access to it? Because personally, I would prefer to go back and watch those videos over again after the 6 weeks so that I can get a better understanding of what the course is. If yes, okay, will we also have access to the Office 635? Because there are lots of documents there, or will we be yanked out of it? Like, will we be yanked off after the 6 weeks? There are documents that I also want to. Okay, so I'll continue to have access to it. Oh, that's good. Thank you.
Okay, so I think thank you everyone for your contribution. By 1 week, so instead of 6 weeks, to spend 7 weeks. But I can assure you that by the end of this class, you would understand everything you need to do. So the business process, the business analysis process, the first stage is always the business case, understanding the future state analysis and the current state analysis. And that is what you have done in the first week. Of course, you'll be having lengthy meetings. I'm not sure you can escape that. I'm not, to be sincere, nobody's going, even if you go elsewhere, the classes will even be longer. So as regards your Scrum meetings and meetings with your team members, some people say sometimes it takes long. Honestly, I'm not sure I can control that. But for the business analysis process, the first week you have to understand business case, and that is what we have taught you. However, some people are reaching out to me saying they don't understand it. So if you don't understand it, please just share your questions on the group. Then also, some people are catching up more than the other. So what I'm going to suggest is we'll try to round up, and then if you have any questions, you can stay back so you can share your screen, and then we'll put you through so that we don't extend the meetings. But well, for whatever it is we have to do, just to ensure that you understand what it is that to get the value that you paid for, you definitely get it, even if it means ensuring that we extend the meeting by 1 week. So yes, we will do that. But if you are not catching up fast, please stay behind after the main class so that you can share your concerns, ask your questions. But as regards the Scrum meetings with your team members, usually, according to the Scrum guide, the Scrum meetings is 15 minutes. But what you do with your team members, honestly, I would not be able to control that. So I can't really say if you spend 5 hours or 10 hours, I can't control that. But anything you have to learn in class, I would ensure that you learn it. So once you are done with this class, if you have any question, please stay back so that you can share your screen and we'll put you through. Thank you.
So another possible suggestion is, because the lecture time, when it comes time to you guys coming and presenting, I have a question in terms of, were you guys able to practice before coming?
Yeah, hello?
Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah, my team and I, we practiced before coming. Okay, for throughout, we met practically almost every day.
Yes,
Not
please.
almost every day throughout the week. And then this morning, we did about an hour, 30 minutes, and then gave ourselves, I mean, after the meeting, we had about 30 minutes to refresh for the class. Thank you.
So so my thing is that in terms of, so I'm sure as you guys can even see, right? Once we start presenting, we have a lot of story we want to tell, and before we know, the time goes. So my recommendation as an added is, so the way it is the presentation is for you guys to come and do like your presenting to the stakeholder group, right? You know, every other person here is also a stakeholder. Even though you might be working on the project, the same project, you might have a different view in terms of, oh, maybe I would do it this way, maybe I'll do it this way. That's why we do it, so you can present, right? So I might recommend that we might need to have a separate time when we present, as opposed to the lecture time and the practical time, because that is when time overruns. And as I said, we've only started the first part of the information to tell you guys. And because we want to bring everyone along, you know, that's where some of the challenges will come. So as an analyst, even as the facilitator, we have to look and see what are some recommendations, right? So is it that maybe what you can do is you can, I don't know about time, but I would recommend that, because I still, this week, I'm supposed to teach you guys a next step. We haven't even gone into what is a process flow, and all of that kind of stuff. So those are things that we still need to do. Customer journey mapping, the UI UX piece of it, right? So, but I know we're at our limit today, and I do have some plans as well. So what we'll do, and we still have the presentations. So my recommendation is, it's up to you guys if we're able to take a bit of a break and then come back to do the presentations. Otherwise, we'll do it tomorrow. We can do it a little bit earlier, maybe an hour or 2 hours ahead, because I still have to do the training. Or you guys can do your presentation in a video and send me the link, because I still need to do the next lecture so that you know what to do for next week. I don't want a situation whereby it comes back. And what I want to do is I want to break it up so that you guys can actually practice. We'll give you examples so you can practice. So when it comes time to doing it during the week, it's not like, oh, we're starting from scratch. Okay. It's not just talk, talk, talk.
Yeah, but Petrina, I wanted to ask, if they share their sprints or their presentation individually, I want to believe others learn from other groups. So is it something they mind, or you actually don't care?
Is that to me or to them?
The students, yes, please.
Okay.
I guess okay, my group hasn't presented, so I'm going to speak on behalf of my group. This is Jamila. It would be nice to present to the whole class, but looking at the time, and we have like 4 groups left. To be honest, we have. I also believe that we need to have another way, because even if we have 10 minutes each, and 7 groups present, we already have 70 minutes gone. And of course, there'll be questions and answers, there'll be other things like that. So I don't know how exactly, but I think we need to find another way to make this presentation. So if possible, maybe the groups get to do a Zoom meeting. The person that is presenting shares the screen, and then we can record that meeting and send to Petrina. And I mean, she's going to review it anyway. So reviews it, and then maybe she sees whatever needs to be done better by all groups, and then she gives us a feedback during the class. I think that's a better option because of the time.
Because we still have to, still have to teach,
Hello,
right?
Petrina.
Hello.
Please, can I suggest that, for instance, this week our assignment was business case analysis. You could maybe split it into different groups. So say maybe like group one, you take the feasibility study group. So that way we can get a bit of every group, yet still saving time. That's just my recommendation, because I actually learned from other group presentation, but having other groups present their full slides just takes so much of our time. So maybe you could just share, okay, group one, you handle this, group two, you handle this, and then each group can touch on a bit of the whole assignment. That way we can get a bit of each group while learning from other groups while still saving time.
So I think that that's an excellent suggestion, but then I also want to bring up the point that when you do these presentations, you get an idea of how long things are taking. So you have to think about any presentation that you want to do. Think about it in terms of what are the key information I need to take and present to the stakeholders. So yes, you would have gone through all of the key things, but you have to think, what are the key things? If you have a CEO sitting in the room, you have to think, how much time do they have? 10 minutes? If it's 10 minutes, how can you consolidate a large volume of information into something concise, right? That's just a teaching, right? So I think in terms of maybe sharing the link, doing the video and stuff. So if you recall, Vivian said we used to spend, we've done different modes. We used to do Saturday and Sunday 5 hours, and then we do the daily scrum. But as the numbers increased, we said, okay, we want to try and make it a little bit more feasible. Sorry, I see someone has their hand up. I'm so sorry, I have to step away. I'll be right back. Just need to, I think we should take either take a break, but I really need to use the washroom. So I think someone had something to say.
Yeah, I think was it Tony that just spoke now?
Yes.
Has said what I wanted to say. Like, but I had a bit of a tweak to that. Like, if everyone can send a link to their presentation or send their presentation before class to Petrina, and or like someone said, we can all share it on SharePoint so that everybody can see and then we'll learn. I feel like sometimes when the presentation is being made, some questions will jump at you and you're able to ask. So you can get a link to their presentations. If you have any question, I think everybody is on Slack or wherever, you can ask all the questions you want. And yeah, people that are really interested in learning more will go for it, read other people's presentations, ask questions, because at the end of the day, we're all adults here and, you know, we have our obligations to maximize the class to full effect. So if there's a dedicated place where everybody can go and look at, like someone said, SharePoint, check out whatever presentation. If you have any questions for Wemi's group, you can ask Wemi. If you have any questions for Oinda's group, you can ask anybody, you know, just ask questions. That's what I believe. I think, I don't know if it's possible.
I think Bimi is offering, maybe we take 10 minutes break to refresh and come back. Today has been long. I even have a plan in 45 minutes, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, it's not fair to everybody else. But I'm tired now, so we'll see. Which one works? Should we take a 10-minute break and then come back?
Maybe we should take the 10 minutes break and come back. Then how much longer when we come back from the break?
I don't know.
Sorry,
I don't know. Even me, I had plans.
Which
one?
Okay,
now?
so Petrina, sorry.
In
Sorry,
another,
please, I wanted to say
at the end of
something.
2 months, we'll be great business analysts. So might as well just sacrifice.
Petrina, I
Even
wanted
me,
to
I
say
had
something.
plans, so I want to go out. I've been in the
Yeah.
house. I want to go out.
Thank you, Petrina.
I want to go outside.
End of summer.
Okay, so I'm trying to suggest something. I don't know. Please, is it possible for us to have a day
dedicated for the presentation, or some hours, maybe like tomorrow. Since what you teach tomorrow, can we come a little earlier tomorrow, like an hour earlier, to do the remaining presentations? I don't know if that is okay. I don't know if that is okay, because I understand the whole.
I can
Already,
do
we don't
Friday.
have weekends, so don't forget. Already, weekends are cancelled. So coming in earlier. Hey.
Yeah, it's okay, because Petrina, I understand that, like the whole share, put it on SharePoint, ask your questions. But the truth about it is, there's a feel when someone is presenting, you're jotting down your questions, and then immediately after that, at times, if you read through or if you watch through the presentation via SharePoint or something, that's real life, direct, I don't know how to say, direct feedback might not be there, as opposed to when the person is presenting, you just jot it down, and immediately after the presentation, you're asking, or you're critiquing, or you're providing solution. For me, that's my take. I don't know.
I think let's take a 10 minutes. Let's see how much time we can power through. Please. But right now, my bladder needs attention. So please, please.
Are we still presenting after the break, or the presentation?
Yes, I would like that. I would make the time. You know, I told someone I have plans. But I need to use the washroom. So
Okay,
let's
that's
take
fine.
10 minutes and come back, please.
Okay.
Sorry.
10 minutes,
10 minutes. Someone time. Share your screen, please. I need
over
to
to you.
run to the washroom. So sorry. Sorry. Oh.